When I was on that walk, it kind of dawned on me after I got back too bad. Otherwise, I just would have whipped the phone out and talked about it. And since I didn't want to go back outside and do that, I thought, you know what, I'll just sit down and get it off my mind right now. And that topic is how difficult things satiate the soul. And I was just kind of, just like anyone does, thinking about stuff and clearing my head on the walk. And one of the topics that came to my mind was what brings people true gratification and true fulfillment in life. And the thing that kept coming to my head was performing and making it through difficult things. So, what I mean by that is, let's use a couple of examples. So, let's say you have this song, and just like everyone else does, and Lord knows if you're me, it's many frickin' songs, fuck. But there's those songs that you consistently listen to, and it's the same one all day, every day, on repeat. It probably pops up in your Spotify Wrapped as like your number one song. But for me, and just like everyone else, is you listen to it so much that you actually start skipping it when it comes on, and the brain treats instant gratification the exact same way. So let's use a couple of examples, like when you're sitting there doom scrolling on your phone, that I know myself included are guilty of, constantly eating junk food, consuming nothing but entertainment, all very easy hits of gratification and dopamine. But just like that song that you once loved and did nothing but listen to it, those things get old too, because you didn't have to suffer through any sort of trial or tribulations to achieve it. And I know you and myself and everyone on this planet wants nothing but the best for themselves. And I'll use this as an example to prove that. You know, when you were a kid and you had these goals and aspirations to be a doctor, a lawyer, a police officer, a vet, whatever it might have been, and you thought it was all possible, and life was literally your playground. You could do and think of anything imaginable. But as you got older, as life went on, those things weren't quite at the forefront anymore. You became an adult, there was bills, responsibilities, life got in the way. So you pushed it to the side, it wasn't necessarily at the forefront anymore. That doesn't mean that they completely went away, just at the background, not necessarily at the forefront where you're thinking of it all the time, like you were when you were a kid. You know, when you're laying in bed and you get that sudden urge and this motivational surge where it's like, whoa, I think tomorrow I'm gonna wake up at 5 and go to the gym and do all these crazy things. Have you ever stopped and wondered what that is? That is quite literally that little kid inside of you still screaming for you to get up and do something with yourself. Because if you're sitting around and you're not doing anything necessarily productive, kind of just floating around and doing things as you please, your soul knows that it's not being fulfilled to its utmost calling. So that feeling is exactly that. It is, please get up and do something with yourself, because I know you are meant for more. So next time you do get that, I would just ask you to maybe listen to it just a little bit. Nothing crazy. You don't have to take leaps and bounds right out of the gate, right? It can be as simple as getting up at 5 and making that a daily routine, because gosh, anyone knows that one's fucking hard, right? But any step is worth it in the long run, right? One small step can lead to one big step, and so on. It all starts with a small step. And if you fail taking those small steps, it's not the end of the world, because as long as you don't quit and you try again, then the failure is a learning curve, right? It's just the cost of education. Because if you're used to not trying really at all, and you're just starting to try and do things better for yourself, you're gonna eat dirt a few times, but the dirt is actually what teaches you. So once you've hit that first roadblock that you inevitably will, I would take that as one step closer to your ultimate goal. And once you've gotten those small things out of the way, you can take another step forward to something bigger, something more worthwhile. And my grand point on doing stuff like this is, Doing stuff that's difficult and that actually is stressful and makes you actually have to try to achieve it, that is what truly satiates the soul. Delayed gratification, things you had to try for. Those feelings aren't fleeting because you know you tried and you gave it your all to do something. I want better for you just as much as I want better for me. And doing difficult things and actually following through and being someone of your word inspires everyone else around you to do the exact same thing. Kind of like I said last time. Sure, you might embarrass yourself, you might fail quite a few times. Lord knows I have. But just keep trying, right? And if someone has something to say about you trying and they make fun of you for whatever fuck-ass reason, that person's the one that has to look at themselves in the mirror and seriously ask themselves what they're doing. Because when has it become weird or, weird to try? Who cares? You do it if you feel like this is what you were meant to do with your entire life, right? Who gives a fuck if someone says something for trying? Fuck them. There is no better feeling in the world, I promise you that. This is a life truly worth living, and this is how difficult things truly satiate the soul. Do you remember that song I mentioned in the beginning? The one that kind of lost its magic? That's what happens when life is only about chasing the next high. But when you go after something that's actually hard, that actually tests you, that feeling, it never fades. It grows. You get out there and you go get what you know is yours. I believe in you.